On today's Road and Track 3-lap review, we're taking a look at the 2018 Porsche 911 GT3, which is the first 911 GT3 in years with a manual gearbox.
That's what you're gonna do?
Really? I think the fist added to it.
It's not. I mean, with the arm and the you weren't into it.
Can we just drive the car?
Fine.
Oh, the thing about this is that it revs all the way to 9,000 RPM, and it's so good.
It makes that noise over and over and over again.
And it stops making power at like 8,000, but who cares?
And when you're done making the noise, you can do it.
Because you can make the noise.
Again.
You can make the noise around town. You can make the noise taking your kid to school. You can make the noise at home. You can make it at work.
What's different about this? It's a 911 GT3.
With a manual gearbox.
Manual transmission. It's a 6-speed manual gearbox in it. They haven't offered this car with a manual gearbox ever, because the Germans thought, it's a PDK. It's a manual gearbox, not as quick as the automatic with the pedals. And you know what? It wasn't.
They were right, but they were wrong. Because it feels faster and it feels better with the manual because you're doing the things yourself, which is what everybody says, and it's cliche these days. Like, oh, it feels better when you're doing something. It does.
In all of our testing, we have never tested a manual car that is fast, manual 911, manual Porsche, that is faster than the automatic equipped car.
Right.
But I don't care
because
I get to do this. And I'm doing something when it happens. So this is a facelifted version of the 2014 911 GT3. This is the 2017 model. It was our 2015 performance car of the year, and they've improved it in every way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, now the engine's a 4-liter instead of the 3.8. Gets 500 horsepower. Still revs to 9,000 RPM, which is nuts.
Car weighs 3,100 pounds, which, given how fast it is, what it does, how easy it is to drive, you know, that's about on point. It's not a lot, it's not a little, it's just kind of what cars of this ilk weigh at this point. But it's what they've done with the weight that matters. How the car feels when you bend it into a corner. How it talks to you and it begs you to go faster. This is meant to make you feel like you're at Le Mans. It's meant to make you feel like you're in an honest-to-God race car. It's meant to make the noises of the 1970s and 80s that made the 911 what it is. Which means that this being the only naturally aspirated 911 left, it's the only car left in their lineup that ties back to what made the 911 great to begin with. Right. Which means it's one of the cars, one of the few cars left in the world that ties back to the beginning of the modern sports car as we know it.
Yeah, you should put it in second and go to like $9 grand.
Like that?
Yeah, like now.
Is there more? Can I do it again?
Do it again.
Why would you want a manual transmission in a car like this? If the whole point of this car is going quicker and feeling like a race car and making your commute seem like the Mulsanne straight, why do you want a clutch pedal?
Porsche didn't think you did want a clutch pedal for a long time, but then they listened to the people who wanted to buy the car, and those people wanted a manual transmission. I mean, look at the 911R. That car sold for what, $500,000, $750,000 because it was a GT3 RS with a manual gearbox. This car has just as much power and arguably even better engine than that car.
When they first brought out this version of the 911, this is the facelifted version of this GT3, but the non-facelifted version, the 2014 car, people didn't buy it. There were customers, but the traditional hardcore long-time Porsche customers, the guys that buy a new 911 every year, buy a new GT3 every time that car comes out, they didn't buy the thing because it didn't have a manual gearbox. It actually brought up values of the car that they built before it, the 997 GT3, drove values of those cars up because everybody was like, well, if I can't have this with the clutch pedal, I can have that, you know, but that's almost as good. So Porsche, because they're Porsche and they're German, initially they didn't listen, and they thought, well, they're right, and the customer is wrong. And it turns out the customer was right in time and progress and history, and we get to the point where all cars are, there are no slow sports cars anymore. Right. That matters because it's not about numbers, because you can have numbers anywhere. You can have numbers in a Civic Si, you can have them in a Bugatti, but what you don't get is the feel and the visceral engagement.
I mean, it's a car that's fun at 5 miles an hour or 155 miles an hour. You know, you could do anything, any speed, any time, and the car's gonna be fun no matter what you're doing. And that's an achievement because that makes it more fun on a track and it makes it more fun on a road and it makes it a more complete car.
That's impressive. This thing's impressive. I want one. I want one bad.
You know what you should do?
It's so good!
All right.
It's just painful, Travis. I like it a lot.
It's real good. a good car.
It is a good car.
It's a good car.
It's a good car. It's a good car. Good car. Good car.
Good car.
We get a lot of crests. There's a crest. There's a crest. There's a crest.
So yellow. This one has the crest package.
It does?
Yeah.
Is it actually a package?
It might be.
That's ridiculous. I wouldn't put it past them.
I don't
The yellow
think-
belts
it
are.
might be. It probably isn't.
The yellow belts are hundreds of dollars.
I'm sure